Oh wow! Finally, I have my guest with
I
me.
think we are
How are you,
fine.
Mr. Pradeep?
So,
So good to see you.
so fine. So finally, after so much of effort, I'm there on the live. This has been extremely. I've never done so much of effort to join in a live. So great to be here. Extremely feeling,
इतना इंतजार
privileged
तो
to
हम
be here.
इनके चांद
Yeah.
का करते हैं जितना हमने आपका किया है आज.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Same here.
जी. Okay, so how are you, Pradeep? I see you're out. You are somewhere. You're
Yes.
not home. So where are
Well,
you? If you can describe.
I'm in this village called as Sapoda in UP. So you can see right here there are farms here. So I'm just next to the hinterland, and I'm traveling in the hinterland. So I'm in Uttar Pradesh. We are traveling, and that is why you see me outside. But you
So
should
is
not
it
travel. People
because
should
of
not come.
your news? Is it because of your online portal, Jan Ki Baat? Are you reporting
Yes.
from the ground?
Yes. So I am reporting for the ground for Jan Ki Baat and Republic. So that is why I am traveling. Otherwise, it is advisable to not travel. But trust me, it is much better in the rural areas, in the villages, than it is in the urban areas. Yeah, and you feel that people here, at least in the villages, are following lockdown much more than what you see in the urban areas. So it is a fantastic learning experience.
Absolutely, it is, and we salute you for all the hard work that you're doing, and you're going on ground and finding out what's happening in the real India. Because what we see outside is just the superficial India, the urban India, wherein only a certain section of the society resides, but the real India resides where you are right now. So how are people over there? Like, it is much safer, and government also said that the economy can open up in parts. At first, it is going to open up in the rural areas. So if you can tell us what are these sections which are now working, and how are they working?
See, farmers have started to work in their farmland. So this is the time when they reap wheat. So most of the wheat has been cut, and because the agriculture markets have not opened up entirely. So at some places they have opened up, and some other places they have not opened up. So places where they have opened up, farmers are getting the price for their produce. But at a lot of places, they have not opened up in entirety. So that is why what is the farmer doing is that the wheat produce he's storing in his villages, in his house. So the issue with that is that it has the possibility of getting insects and because pesticides are also not available readily in the market due to the lockdown. So that is the worry. But if you look entirely at the village, you will see that village basically has the essence of community living. So people share their pains, sufferings, and they learn from each other. So they're not people who are going hungry. There are people who are living together and fighting lockdown. And for village, I have not seen that life has changed a lot. Apart from migrants who used to work in factories in urban areas, they've come back to the villages. And there is a lot of support from the Gram Sarpanches. With respect to the hygiene, there is good amount of hygiene which is there. But if you see that there is a sense of relief in the villages that the virus will not touch them because they are not allowing people from outside. So every village has locked down their village by ensuring that the locals patrol the village from morning to night. So villages are being self-dependent and self-reliant, and that is the best part. So when you travel, you discover this. And I think that is the biggest strength, and that's why you see the virus has not spread in a humongous way in the Indian villages. And I don't foresee it spending that, spreading that.
Yes, about 70 plus districts in India are completely coronavirus free. But as you said that you are in UP, UP was the first state to actually open agriculture because the crops were getting spoiled. So do you see any other effort from the government apart from just opening up the economy for the farmers? Like cops
See,
are there who have completely barricaded the city, or something else which is happening?
you need a pass to travel, so it is extremely strict. So if I travel in the roads, you will hardly find my car and 1 or 2, 3 trucks which are there. So it is the roads are empty completely. It is very, very strict. So at every few kilometers, you have a check post where people are checking why is the individual traveling. So if you look at administrative scrutiny and administrative sincerity and enforcement, it is spot on. Whether it is UP, Rajasthan, at different places we find that. Now see, what I'm looking at is that we all of us have to understand that lockdown is not the solution to COVID virus, and it is not going away anywhere. So it is not that when you open up the country, you will suddenly have no COVID cases. That is how it is with any disease, right? Whether it is tuberculosis, dengue, or any big flu which has happened. The whole idea is to control it, and you can only control it by taking precautions. But when you take, but the solution to this eventually will lie, according to my understanding, is in building a herd immunity. And at least in the villages, I see a sense that people understand that, and that's where they've started to come back to the farmland. What you need right now is, apart from the villages opening up, some of the agriculture markets opening up, you need farmers to get money in their bank accounts, and especially the laborers in the working field to get money in their bank accounts. So right now, all of the laborers are not getting money, so they've been paid wheat as a reward for their effort. So it's a barter system which is going on, but this cannot survive for long. So I do expect that the government after third will at least open up major industries and will open up the supply chain. It will not open up mass public transport, which will still take time. But still, you will take a long time before things start getting back to normal. But there will be a new normal, is what I feel.
You spoke about things getting to normal, but it is not going to be the kind of normal that we know, or the normal which we have seen. There is definitely going to be a new normal which we will see. So what is this new normal according to you? What is the major thing which you will see happening in the coming time?
Well, the new normal will change from your individual's personal life, social life, and also if you look in the entire way in how the global economy will function. So if you look at the personal life, what we will find is that people will really we will be very conscious with respect to their hygiene. That is number one. Number two is that all non-essential travel and non-essential, get-togethers will be avoided, at least in the near future, till you have a vaccine. Number three is what I feel is that people will avoid mass public transport as their first option. They will rather, if they have their personal vehicles, they'll rather choose that. That is number three. Number four is that, if you look economically, you will see that the world will be less China dependent for sure. So this is a very big change which will happen. You will not see people traveling overseas in the near immediate future. That is another change which will happen.
A year or a year and a half.
Yes. So I see that in the next 5 I'm foreseeing by July max you will have international travel back on track. But you will see people wearing masks as a new normal, is what I will tell you. So you will see everybody looking similar in their masks. That will be something which will be different. You might have a situation where restaurants and all the offices will have thermal checkups done before allowing individuals to, enter. You will also see even airports and even
before you enter anywhere.
Yes. So there will be massive change, but I don't see that people will be socially isolated from each other because that is not the general, human tendency. So slowly and gradually, you will see people coming back to adjusting to the new normal and taking those necessary precautions. And we also need to understand and absorb that COVID is here to stay. And if COVID is here to stay, you have to start taking the COVID positive cases, normally. Because even if you look in the present cases, majority of the ventilators in this country are vacant. So there are not seriously ill patient ratio in India is very low. So you have to take, somebody becoming COVID positive. Somebody becoming COVID positive just like any other disease. So that is how you can only live with it. Otherwise, it will be very difficult.
So we gotta learn to live with the virus. But that's just... but we have been living with a lot of other viruses in our lives. We are actually made up of a lot of viruses and bacteria all over in our body. The only reason why we all are so concerned about coronavirus is because it is something new. And because we don't have the vaccine yet. So until we discover the vaccine, we'll have to take precautions, wear masks. So I see you're very stressed. You are on the streets. You are reporting from the ground, going into the interiors of the country. what do you do to entertain yourself and relieve this stress? Like, tell
Well,
us
I think
something.
when you start traveling and speaking to people in the villages, that's the best entertainment, because when you speak to new people and you learn a lot of new dialects and their conversations and understand about their day-to-day struggle, you really get inspired a lot. So the more you travel, the more you see, and the more there's a big change. So it's not the same, boring 9 to 5 or the same thing. So so for example, in our back, I was there with a farmer who was who was with the buffaloes, and he was taking out the milk from the buffaloes. So I also experienced that for the
बिल्कुल
first
निकाला
time.
वो buffalo के
Yes.
अंदर. I have tried
Yes.
that once, but it is very difficult. Buffaloes don't even allow strangers to come and touch them. Like, it is going to be
Absolutely. So it took
strange
me
and
half
touching
an hour.
them on their
It
private parts.
True. It took me half an hour to make the buffalo realize that I'm not a stranger. So so these are things. Yeah, I think traveling in the hinterland is the best experience, and that is what keeps me going. Because for the first few weeks, at least 3 weeks, I was also locked down. But then eventually, I realized that I have to be on the field. And traveling in the villages is much better than I would say in the urban areas, because villages are more safer, and
Much more
the
safe.
air is clean. Yes, and I think that's where the real story lies, and that's where the real voice lies.
I think आपने एक बड़ी ही interesting बात की है in your entire sentence which you created, that the environment is clean, the air is clean. We celebrated 50th Earth Day 2 days back on 22nd April. And amidst the entire crisis, when human beings are suffering, the nature seems to be flourishing. We see animals on the street. We've seen flamingos in India, in Mumbai for the first time in years. So, any climatic change which you see drastically is different in the villages. Something which you have
Well,
observed.
see, villages have, if you look and if you compare, villages have generally been fairly clean compared to the urban areas. So it is just that the generally villages or a village life is bustling with a lot of energy and people talking to each other, living in having a charpai beneath a tree and talking to each other. So that has somehow stopped a bit. People are, even in the villages, are more inside their house, and either they go to their farmland and come back to the house. So the air has generally been clean. It's just gone more cleaner. I think the main change has happened in the urban areas. I'll give you an instance. In front of my
Yeah.
house, there's a beautiful garden. Now, for the past 4.5 years, I did not find any bird coming up. But now my morning is about chirping of birds, and every day I find a new bird. So that has been the change. So it is, as it is said, right? Human beings used to think that they own this planet. Now the whole thing is that human beings are just one of the species on this planet. And your civilization, personally, if you have if you study it, primarily has been about community living, and not about greed, but about need. And slowly the world is also realizing that. And I think post COVID, the world will look at India to provide the way of life, because this is COVID has brought everybody to the same level, whether you are rich, poor, or anything. At the end of the day, it is not the materialistic living which primarily is important. COVID has taught us that you need a balance in life, and the real thing which matters in life is just not at the size of your car or the the size of your wallet. What matters at the end of the day is whether you are healthy and whether you have those relationships with which you can speak to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this time which we have got off from our usual routine is also giving us some time to self-reflect and see what we are doing, where we are going. So in a way it's good, in a way it's bad. A lot of people are suffering. I feel bad about them. But then there are some positives and we find happiness in them. Recently, okay, I'll talk about that later. But today is the National Panchayati Raj Day. And आज
Yes.
PM Modi ने television पे आके he did a video conferencing with all the panchayat. I don't know if I'm saying it right, with all the sarpanch in the panchayats, and he tried to connect with the rural India. Now, what do you see is the benefit out of doing something like this, and how does it differentiate Modi from any other global leader like right now?
See, let's take your question into two parts. The former is that at the end of the day, any government scheme which is implemented by the sarpanches and the gram sabha heads. So the sarpanch is the main pillar and the main backbone of this country's development. Any welfare scheme for any government. Now with technology, what Prime Minister Narendra Modi and this government has done, it has built a platform which is where it can reach to every sarpanch in this country without personally physically being there. So it has been massive, so which means that I can track and monitor all my government schemes. So if I have distributed or say allocated 1 lakh crore as part of my rural development, at the end of the day it will be the sarpanch who will be ensuring that this reaches those beneficiaries. So sarpanch is your main mode of development. So I think it has been fantastic, and I will give you an instance from my personal travel. So I was in this village called as Rohad. Rohad comes in Haryana. So I met this sarpanch called as Satish, and this guy ensured that in his village there is not even one COVID positive case. So from morning in the 6 a.m. to night in the 3 o'clock, he used to patrol, used to serve tea to people who were patrolling. Every house was sanitized, every house was given a soap. People who were hungry, they were fed meals even if they're migrants. So, I have been so inspired by these sarpanches, and I will be connecting all of them, roughly 10,000 of them. That's my mission in the next 1 year. So that is where everything lies. So number two is what differentiates Modi from other global leaders. And I think
Your
Modi...
mission, wait, your mission is to connect 10,000 sarpanches in next 1 year.
Yeah, that is
All the
something which
best.
I have not decided. Yeah. See, because if I'm able to do that, which means that I can reach to the voice of the country in a matter of seconds, and I can actually get what people of India are thinking. And even if there is a positive social, cause which I want to take, it is these people who will be implementing it. So rather than just being photo ops, which you see a lot of NGOs and people doing it in village, in urban areas, I think that will be real tangible development. So in the past 4 years, I've roughly traveled 400 constituencies and more than roughly 3,500 villages. So I think now this is my next target. So, and with respect to Modi, I think the biggest differentiator, Akriti, with Modi is that he has this trust which an elder in the family has. So imagine that if anyone's father would say ki boss ye karo, so even if the son or the daughter will not like, they will not dismiss it entirely. So the niyat of Prime Minister Modi is really respected by the common man, and so he has this whole ability of persuasion. So he will get the country to bang thalis and come out of their balconies. He will get the people to do anything because he has this ability to convince, and people think that he's working in the right interest of the country. That is what differentiates it. So if you look at Donald Trump, he's in two minds whether to lock down his country or not lock down his country. You have more than 130 crore people in this country who have literally followed this. Now, if they would not have followed it, no amount of state park would prevent people from going on the street. But people genuinely, voluntarily have done that. Now, this is massive. Because such a diverse country, across segment, if it's following this, I think it speaks volumes about the entire leadership, whether it is at the state level or at the Prime Minister's level. And this also speaks about the
Absolutely,
wisdom
and
of
on that
people.
note,
Yeah. So
absolutely,
just a small
and
point.
it is,
A small point. So just look at the comparison, right? In United States of America, you have people on the streets who want to say that we don't want to be locked down, get us out. We don't care about the deaths. And in this country, you have just 700 deaths. Compare this to the world average. This is nothing, peanuts. And still people are saying that we will follow it and maintain social distance despite not having those resources to sustain their day-to-day living. Now, this is differentiating part of India, and that is the resilience of India, which people do not understand, and you can only understand when you travel on the ground. Yeah.
In this entire scenario, India is coming out as a strong country in the eyes of the world. Bill Gates recently complimented Mr. Modi, saying that we need a leader like you, and Trump is not being appreciated anywhere. So it is affecting India's image on a global level. So what are these things which are going to help us in the future? Do you see any benefit of this image which we are creating right now, or we are just doing it because it is the need of the time?
I think, Akriti, this will be extremely beneficial for us. We all need to admit that economically we will have hard time in the next 1 to 2 years for sure. But once this world now cannot trust China, all of us admit this, that China now has suffered a permanent, I would say, trust deficit. Now, when China has suffered the permanent trust deficit, a lot of companies and countries will start moving their supply chains away from China. Now, India in this whole pandemic has supplied hydroxychloroquine, to United States of America. It has got foreign nationals back. It has supplied it to the Middle Eastern countries. So in time of need, when the world needed individual to come out of the pandemic, India has been that player. And India is not a conqueror. India is always an accepting power. India will not conquer people. So Indians do not have that hard power like the Chinese have, where they will go in Africa and with using their state capitalism will try to loot the country and imperialize the country. Indians does not do that. So I see there is huge chance for us, provided we capitalize on this chance. We really need to get the economy going in the next 2 years. Once we get the economy going, because this is the most important time, because Europe is down, China is suffering a global trust deficit, United States of America is looking inwards. So which means there's a huge vacuum. Now, apart from India, there is no other country which can fill the vacuum. It is on us with such a young country that if we can take this brand India forward and get people's aspirations realized in the next 2 to 3 years, I think India will be the shining spot, and this will be the inflection point in the world, as we say. And this might be the point which India would be looking for in order to lead the world.
You mean to say India remained the only option for the entire world? Yes, we are helping the world. We are sending hydroxychloroquine to almost 50 countries. Yes, we are helping our surrounding nations. We are getting them together. We are standing as a nation which is very strong, and we are controlling the virus, the pandemic. But if you see from a global perspective, does India have the power to become the next global leader? Or is this title going to go to USA or China or any other European country, maybe Russia for that case? Are we that powerful yet? Because the predictions always said that India is going to be the world power by 2050. We are only in 2020. We still have a lot of problems. We see economically there's a problem, social problem, political problem. Everywhere we see problems in the country. But it is not a bad thing. In any developing economy, you will see these problems and we will get out of it. These are the problems which create disruption in the industry, and we come up with different strategies to overcome it. But does India have the power to become the world leader now? According to you, what you said.
See, Akriti, I'm an optimist. And it depends on how you look at power. Now, if you look at power only in terms of military capability, if you look at power only in terms of a country which goes ahead and annexes under other countries, if you look at power only in terms of a country which goes ahead and wages war on another country, I'm not looking at India as that power. I'm looking at India as a power which gives solutions to the world problems. I'm looking at India as a power which tomorrow becomes the hub of global manufacturing. I'm looking at India as a power which becomes the hub of global tourism. I'm looking as a power where Indians will go ahead and actually earn the trust of the world. So if you look at China I do not see as becoming as powerful as it was in the past, right? US is now looking for an alternate powerhouse in Asia. Yes. So my reading and
I think there's a technical error, but we will.
Is that any becoming powerful is again a journey. There is no destination to it. You as a nation have to go stronger and stronger with every passing day. Now this strength will come from the resolve of the people, where you will have more Indian companies becoming in the Fortune 500. We need that. We need best hospitals in this country. We need also better military. But I see that India will do that because it is the only country apart from China, for say, which has the potential for a positive growth rate. Today, then even in the IMF, if you look at it, it is projecting for a negative worldwide growth rate, but India still has a positive growth rate, provided we capitalize on this. And we are a very young and a dynamic nation, and I feel that we can make this happen. And anybody, every common Indian citizen is a brand India, right? So anybody goes abroad, he represents brand India, just like, so I think that is where the strength lies, and I'm extremely positive. I do not say that we will be the number one in terms of military power, absolutely not. Maybe we do not need that. But I would say that our strength in the world in order to influence global public opinion will grow drastically. It has already grown in the past few years. Now the only intermittent challenge is to ensure that economically we come over this crisis, because this is the biggest crisis the world is facing after the global depression. So we should ensure that our population does not go into social conflict. You will have a lot of challenges, but if we as a nation can come over these challenges, then I don't see that there is any looking back.
Well, we're very happy to see your optimism, and for some reason, your voice just dropped, and now it is difficult for me to hear. But I will try my best. Thank you so much for telling us a lot about India, and we might become the world power on a very optimistic note. I am also an optimist, so I feel that maybe it should happen, and we all wish for it. Economically, it is going to be a big challenge for all of us, as you rightly remarked. Now, coming back to you, you started as an engineer, then you got into theater, then you got into politics, and then finally you became a psephologist. Now, this is a very new term. I got introduced to it yesterday, and I was excited to meet you because you're actually the first psephologist I'm meeting. So tell us firstly about what does this word mean and your journey, how you got onto this path.
Well, psephologist is a term which I also discovered after doing psephology for 2 years. So, psephology basically is something where you predict Indian elections. So, it is about telling which party is winning, by what margin is it winning. So, it is a very complex art, but it involves a lot of micro data. So, this is also the reason why I travel. So, in the past 2.5 years, we've been able to do 16 Indian elections and got 15 of them correct. So, that has been a very big achievement, which I feel, which is there of my team. And I started as an engineer, did theater, public policy, and then this Jan Ki Baat and psephology. Well, I've always looked at the best opportunity in front of me, and the only intention is to contribute. And I felt that this being a psephologist happened in a coincidence because I was into election campaigning. And post into election campaigning, I ended up doing an election, which is the UP election in 2017, which I predicted absolutely correctly. And then onwards, we've been on the ground. And in this country, you do not have people, very few people go ahead and predict and come on the ground to predict the Indian elections. We've been able to do that, and that is because of a fantastic young team. And the whole objective and the responsibility which we have as a psephological entity, because people of India trust us to know the reality. So if you as Akriti want to know who is winning the next elections in Bihar, you will tune up to me and my company to tell you who is winning the elections in Bihar. So that is the responsibility which we have. And that's what a psephological company basically does. And apart from that, we do a lot of heavy ground reportage and a lot of debates on television. But that is all side. Main thing is to tell the people of India what people of India are thinking. And that is a big responsibility. And that is what a psephologist does.
Well, you're doing the same thing with Jan Ki Baat, and that's a brilliant initiative by you. You also wrote a book called Modi Mandate 2019,
Yes.
for which
Yes.
you went to a lot of villages, did a research. So tell us something
Yes.
about the book and how did you came up with the idea of writing something like that?
See, I was traveling for the 2019 elections and was roughly traveling for months. And every place where I used to travel with my VJ, my camera person Abhishek, and my team Jan Ki Baat, I used to record my conversations with individuals and people, and also used to record the analysis which we used to do. Now, we were the first people to predict in India that Narendra Modi will come back with absolute majority. We said that 2 months before the election. Everybody was after us, the pay and all of these things were there. And at the end of the day, it came out to be true. So after the elections and after everything got over, I just was going through one of the recordings, and then it struck me that, boss, I have diamond content, because political books in this country have been written by talking to politicians. Now, I have written this first political book which does not have any conversation with politicians, but it has conversation with voters. This is the first book which is written from the perspective of the Indian voter. So if you want, it has the conversations from Banaras, and it has the conversations from Chennai, it has everywhere. And so this is the first book which is written by traveling to 400 constituencies. This is a book which has no politician conversation in it. It has voters conversation in it. It is already in the second reprint and towards a bestseller. So I think that is what made me write, because I had a story to tell, and the story was about people of India and how people of India think and what basically triggers their thinking in their language. And that is how the idea came up, and it took me 7 months to write, and that's how I've penned this book coincidentally.
Well, Pradeep, we wish you all the best for the book. And
Thanks.
all my viewers who are watching me and watching us, me and Pradeep today, on this live channel. We request you to send in your questions. If you want to ask something, it can be on any kind of issue. If you want to have some information and you want to ask a question to Pradeep or me, you can write that down on this live stream and we will try and take your question. In the meantime, I have a couple of questions which I want to ask. I mean, I've been asking a lot of questions, but these are my personal concerns which I want to ask you. See, I'm a now, when I see that there is a depression, then there is inflation. It's like a cycle. It goes up and down. Right now, we are in a state of voluntary depression. Now, when we will come out of it, because this depression is voluntarily something that we have taken on ourselves. When we will come out of it, what are the things that you see governments and International Monetary Fund doing for the entire world? Which are the industries on which we will focus the most? And what are the industries which will see the most amount of challenges? So if Pradeep, you can hear me, please answer these questions.
Your voice is breaking a bit. If your voice is just like echoing a bit, the connection is proper, right? The voice is breaking a bit
जी,
towards your end.
आपकी screen भी रुक गई है. I
I'm
cannot
not
see
able
you.
to see you.
Your video has stopped.
Well, my video has stopped. 1 second.
I can hear you. I cannot see you.
Yeah, I can also hear you, but I can't see you. So if you can repeat the question, I think I can answer.
Okay, it's the bandwidth issue. Not a problem from our end. It's a problem from Instagram's end. It's a bandwidth issue, but it's okay. It's one of the side effects that people are using internet quite a lot these days. We want to be connected. Human beings have the urge to stay connected with all the other people, and digital is the only way to go right now in the age of social distancing. I'm in conversation with Pradeep Bhandari, CEO and founder of Jan Ki Baat, and I have a question which I wanted to ask him. That when you see there is a trend, you see inflation, depression, then again they boom in the economy. We were due to face this depression. But right now what has happened is we have voluntarily taken this depression. And going forward, economies will definitely see a boom. But what are the industries which the entire world is going to focus on? The industries which are going to see the major amount of boom. On the other hand, what are the other industries which will see a lot of difficulties getting back to normal?
I think tourism will have a lot of difficulty in the start. The entertainment industry will also take some time before picking up, at least in the near-term future. Industries, I think, which are into health and which are in healthcare will see a big boom. I think because the people have become more conscious about their health. So you will see a lot of industries which are into designing healthcare solutions really benefiting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get him back. I hope आपको अच्छा लग रहा होगा the entire live stream. I'm gonna get my guests back. These are some interesting conversations that we're doing with Pradeep Bhandari. He's a journalist, he's a political strategist, he's also a psephologist and TV debater on Republic TV. तो यहाँ पे मेरे साथ कुछ जुड़े हुए हैं. I cannot see you. Can you hear me?
1 second. How do you leave it?
बहुत ज्यादा सीरियस बातें हो गई गाइस. अगर आपको कुछ एंटरटेनमेंट चाहिए तो बता दो. हम यहाँ पे गवाएंगे, गाना भी गवाएंगे प्रदीप से. प्रदीप, कैन यू हियर अस? क्या आप हमें सुन सकते हैं? So today is the day we are all. अच्छा, रमजान आने वाला है. आप सभी को बधाइयाँ. यहाँ पे thank you. My mama is here. She's listening to the entire conversation. She's enjoying. If you are enjoying, please give this live stream, make a heart. There are these hearts on the corner. You can touch that. And give us likes. Yeah. Share it with your friends if you can. We're trying to be live over here. I got a request for live streaming. I can't see it anymore. So, okay, I think I need to be live quite often to understand all the live features. But Jay Todi, hi. We have a lot of people who are watching us through Seven Entertainment's page. Guys, hello, welcome. If you're not following me yet, kar lo yaar. I am here. I will take other people and I will take your requests, but not in this particular live stream because here we are present for a specific purpose. We were live in conversation with our guest, Pradeep. Unfortunately, because of some technical issues, I lost him, but I'm gonna get him back. Let's see. अरे आ ही नहीं रहे आप लोग कहाँ गए? हाउ यू आरबीके हाय जयतोड़ी एक गाना हो जाए जयतोड़ी बताओ कौन सा गाना हो जाए चलो आप लोग का थोड़ा एंटरटेनमेंट भी कर दीजिए Okay, yeah, guys, tell me which song. Give me your request. I will take it. I am so sorry, people who are asking me to come live. I'm just gonna like finish my interview and then I'm gonna get back to you. Give me a sec. Let me get check. क्या हो रहा है? Amrish बोल रहा है Pradeep will be back. हाँ, thank you. मेरे पास अभी tons of questions है जो मुझे पूछने हैं. मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है कि सालों बाद मुझे कोई मिला है जिससे मैं ये सब इशू के बारे में बात कर सकती हूँ. And when I got a call last night from Seven Entertainment to do this interview, I was really, really excited, and I told them that yes, I have like already tons of questions which I want to ask and which I would want to discuss. So all the people who are watching this, if you have any questions, you can also write that down to me right here, yo, Honey Singh. No Honey Singh on this stream. It's just me, Akriti Anand Singh. Uh, yes, RBK. Tell me, what is the song that you want? तो मैं उस पे वो गाना गा दूंगी. बताइए गाना तो बताइए मेरे को ऐसे गाने नहीं याद आते यार. कौन है जो सपनों में आया?
कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
Yeah,
हेलो
hi.
वेलकम बैक.
ये तेरा फोन आ रहा है.
सर इसको काट दीजिए ना रेड वाला बस.
हेलो वेलकम बैक. प्रदीप आपको शायद जान की खुशी होगी कि हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन इतना इंटरेस्टिंग चल रहा है कि we have so many viewers who stayed back on
I
the
know.
live stream because they want to listen to you and they want to hear what we are talking.
No,
My
I think
mama
you are
is sending a
comparing
lot
it
of
really
good
well.
stuff.
That is the reason, not me.
I'm sorry.
I think they are listening to you, not me that much.
हाँ ऐसा कभी कभी मुझे अच्छा लगता है मेरी तारीफें. I will take the credit.
Yes,
No, it
absolutely.
is not because of me. People have come here to listen to you, and because you are giving us really helpful topic and really helpful content. That's why they are talking, and they're also sending in questions. Now, I asked you about the industries which will work and which will have to see difficulties. And you were answering that question, and suddenly the stream stopped, and I lost you. So, if you can repeat that answer.
Well, see, I think travel and tourism will have a difficulty in the short-term future because you will not have free and non-hesitant travel in the short-term future. Apart from that, I do see industries or companies which are into healthcare solutions, they will benefit a lot. They will benefit a lot. Apart from this, I do feel manufacturing companies will also have a good advantage in India if they can source their supply chain which are not dependent on China. So these are the advantages which we will see. Service sector will not be impacted in a very big way. Entertainment industry will again take some time before coping up because entertainment requires a lot of people to come together in large gatherings.
Yeah.
That might take some time. So you will have entertainment industry going a bit digital in the short term future. I don't know till how long can it sustain because at the end of the day you have to be there at your shoot or your film set at different places. So but that might suffer in the short term. Apart from this, you will see service. I think the main issue will also come with respect to all these e-commerce platforms.
E-commerce sites. The e-commerce platforms, right?
Yes, Yes, the e-commerce platform, the non-essential travel. For example, initially you used to not ask your delivery boy, or used to be quite cautious about your delivery boy in the start. I think that will start happening. You will see a lot of industries going a bit digital, going a bit automated. So these are things which will happen. AI has a huge scope, but anything which is to do with people in mass, whether it's travel and hospitality, that will suffer in the short term for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Pradeep. That was really insightful. You told us very clearly in very few words that these are the industries which will see growth. These are the industries which might take time. We unfortunately are from the entertainment industry. We have taken a big hit, the first industry to stop working and probably the last one to start. But we are innovative people, and this is another way of innovation, how we are trying to connect with people and staying relevant in the present times. I know you have to go and you are in a hurry, but a very, very important question, if you can just answer in like two lines. WHO is being blamed. China is becoming the culprit. What is the connection, and can we blame WHO or no? Yeah, I said that. No problem. I said that WHO is being blamed, that they were not doing their job properly. They did not give the right information on time. That is why it has become a global pandemic. On the other hand, there are speculations that WHO and China have close relationships. That's why they covered up the information. So can we blame WHO or China in this scenario?
Absolutely, we should blame. Why not? See, if you look at the facts, right? WHO has acted like the Chinese Health Organization rather than acting as the World Health Organization. Now, the first case in China was reported much before. It was somewhere reported, if I'm not wrong, end of December. WHO till starting of January did not impose travel restrictions from Wuhan. So people from Wuhan were allowed to travel to different parts of the world. Despite the WHO team had to go to China in early January or end of December, they delayed it. The WHO did not give guidelines on masks. It was the different governments saying that wearing mask is compulsory. Now, with respect to this current WHO chief, he's acting more like a behest of the Chinese government. He was the previous health minister in Ethiopia. When he was the health minister, he was alleged to give a lot of contract to the Chinese. Now, in his election, he's the first. If I'm not wrong, he's the first WHO chief who does not actually have a degree, an official degree in health, and he got disposed by the backing of China in a huge way. So it has not even blamed China in one of these circulars. So imagine this: if this virus was not originated from China and it would have been originated from, say, an African country, you would have gone all berserk. So WHO has to be blamed. Completely blame. It took ages for WHO to advise people for a lockdown. It was countries who took the decision on their own. So this has been a colossal failure of the WHO in entirety. Still, at this moment, when this virus has gone from the bats to the humans, the bat market in China is functioning. Why is it functioning? Why has the WHO not issued any condemnation of that? There has been not even one circular which has blamed the Chinese. This has been the most unfortunate part, people. I think WHO has lost its credibility in a big way. That's why you see United States of America taking away its funding. And that is why I say that the world is moving away from multilateralism to gated globalization. So, yes, you need to blame WHO, and because it is personal, it as an institution is responsible. Had the WHO and the Chinese taken care of about this in December, 99% of the cases would have been prevented. So yes, this virus has come from China. This is because of the negligence of the WHO, and we have to call a spade a spade. Because of this lacks of, imagine people in Europe, in Italy. Majority of the Italians, the areas where the virus started to take place, it was because of this campaign started by one of their governors called as Hug a Chinese campaign. So there was apprehensions in Italy that this virus has come to Italy, and the governor Chinese has a huge control in Italy because majority of the leather industry in Italy is owned by the Chinese. And first they used to have Italian workers working there. Now it's the Chinese workers who are working there. So they've imperialized entire Italy. So they started a campaign called as Hug a Chinese campaign. Now imagine when the virus is spreading, the message which is going in that Hug a Chinese. That is why this is the primary reason why Italy went into colossal failure, massive deaths reported. And if what was WHO doing at that time is what we all of us need to ask. What in fact WHO had to come up with guidelines with respect to masks ages back. It has not come up. It did not come out with anything to do with how much ventilators or anything. Nothing. It's only countries who are doing on their own. In fact, hydroxychloroquine guideline was also not given by WHO. So it is, as you know, it has been the most abject failure of any institution in the past history which I have seen.
Yeah, it failed to
You know,
fulfill its
when
sole purpose for which
2002,
it was
when
formed.
SARS, sorry Akriti to interrupt you, when 2002-3, when SARS had happened, the then WHO chief had issued travel guideline restrictions against China. She had publicly issued a notification condemning the Chinese role because in 2003 or 4, the SARS was also spread because of Chinese negligence. But right now, imagine that if this virus, the source of this virus is COVID-19 traces bats, how can Chinese bat markets, the wet bat markets, still continue to function? This is as
Right.
abject failure as it can get.
In fact, it is not even wrong to go to an extent and say that WHO tried to change the name of the virus. It was called the Wuhan
Yes.
virus or the Chinese virus. They spent a lot of time changing the name and making it COVID-19 novel virus,
True.
which did not make sense. They should be doing all these things, taking care of people and generating guidelines.
Absolutely. In fact, the world has been cautious. The world is paying a price for letting an unchecked imperialist, state capitalist, non-democratic China grow. There is no check on China. It is absolutely a non-transparent country. There is no democracy in this country, and it has used all its means. There is a book which is written by two of the Chinese military generals in the past, that conquering the world by 2050. And this is what the Chinese are trying to do. You tell me,
Right.
most of the masks supplied by the Chinese are defective. The equipments, the PPE kits which they try to supply were defective. So
Quality equipment.
the time has come that the world stands up to this Chinese bully and calls a spade, and it is time that we take care of China, because if the world does not do so, I think the next time the world will not have time to even respond.
Absolutely. Pradeep, thank you so much for being with us and
Thank you.
giving us all the insight about what you're doing and about the world politics and the current affairs. I was really happy to meet you. I hope you carry on the work. Please stay safe, wear your mask, and go out on the ground and do a good work.
Thank you so much. It was a fascinating conversation, and you and all the viewers should also stay safe, and do not be a pessimist, be an optimist. We will conquer this, because at the end it's hope which will win, for sure. Thanks a lot. Pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Bye-bye. See you. Bye.